So Godot does have its own buttons built into its system, but whenever I use them, I just find them clunky and they often don't do what they're supposed to do. So I've created my own buttons before, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing that I've done in different games and go through the process with you to create it in this game, and also optimize it a little more than I have done before. So in this video, we're going to be making a main menu. And we've got a menu scene already, which is just a 2D node, and I've saved it in our scenes folder. And we've also got a new asset that we'll put under our UI folder called main buttons, which I've already imported, and you can do that whenever. So to start off, we're going to add in a node 2D, and then we're just going to name this background. And we're not going to go too into depth with this for now. We're just going to set something up so that it's not this default gray to look at. So we've made a color rect, and we're just going to stretch that loosely over our viewport, and we'll make it a close to pure black, but not quite. Then we'll add in a CPU particle, and then we're going to go into our effects folder, click on our electricity particle, then we can go into our drawing and then drag this into our texture, and then we'll also go to our transform, change the position to 120 and 130, 140, sorry. So then now we'll change the gravity to -10, and we'll change the time to 5. And then we can change the amount to 60. Change the time again to 6. And then we'll go into our mission shape, change it into a box, and change X to 120. So now we can just save this and click on this to run it. So yeah, it's just a basic thing. I got some distortions on my screen. Maybe my project settings have been messed with. Just wanted to change this to keep instead of expand. So that may or may not happen with your screen as well. Now we can just go ahead and close that, add in another node 2D, make this buttons, and this is where the real work starts. So we're going to make a node 2D, and then we're just going to call this our button template, and we right click on it and do save branch as scene, go into scenes UI, and then we can open this and we'll add in a sprite, and then we'll add in an area 2D, add in a collision shape for that. And then I'm just gonna name this our, well actually let's delete this from here. And then we're gonna change this into a sprite. We can delete this sprite. So then we'll change this to mouse detection. And then this collision shape will just have to stay like that for now. We'll make it a square though. So then by default, we're just gonna have this as our main buttons texture. Actually, let's leave it with no texture, just for an example to make things easier. So then we'll create a script to it, and we'll do export var button name is equal to button, export var h frames is equal to 1, export var v frames is equal to 1, export var default chords is equal to vector2 0 0, export var focus chords is equal to vector2 0 0. And then we're going to go into our global data. Then we're going to make a var using mouse is equal to true. And then make a func input event if event is input mouse motion. Then using, actually, well, we can change this to one line by doing using mouse is equal to, well, actually no, never mind. So then if event is input event mouse motion, then using mouse is equal to true, else using mouse is equal to false. And then we're also going to make a kinematic body 2D, which is going to be called mouse follow. And we're going to add a collision shape to that. And then we can save this on the UI. And we're just going to make this, just want to make it 1. Yeah. And then we're going to add a script to it, and basically func process if global data but using mouse is equal to true. Pass for now. We need one variable for this, which is var was using mouse is equal to true. Then we'll do was using mouse is equal to global data dot using mouse. So then we'll do global position is equal to get global mouse position, else global position is equal to vector2 -1000 or -100, -100. Doesn't make too much of a difference. I'm gonna make it -1000 just because, and we're basically just like putting this way off screen. And so if we add in a mouse follow to our scene here, and we set visible collision shapes, Then we run this, you'll see that we got this little collision shape that'll follow our mouse around. Then as soon as we press anything, it'll leave. Which I actually want to go into our global data and do or input event mouse button, right? Or event is. Okay, now this should work properly. So yeah, as soon as we press a button that has nothing to do with the mouse, then it'll go away, and then we have to move the mouse or press the mouse button to bring it back. And basically this is going to be how we toggle between controlling which UI we're selecting by using the mouse when that's moved, or by using keys or a controller to switch between them. So then we can go ahead and close this. Then going to go into buttons, instancing a button template. And then there's going to be more script we need to add to this. But essentially, we can start off by doing a func set focused, and then if focused is equal to true, then modulate is equal to FF, which is just white, else modulate is equal to, and then let's just drag in our main buttons for a second here in the texture. Just want to see where, probably about here would be good. And then in the ready, we're just going to set modulate equal to that color. Oh. Okay, so then we also want to do func pressed, and then we'll add in a timer. Then we're going to name this timer pressed time. One shot is 0.1 seconds. So then we'll do if press time dot is stopped is equal to false. And we're also going to make a variable for selected. And it just is stopped actually. So then we'll also do selected is equal to focused, and we'll set this to false by default. So then here we'll do pressed time dot start modulate is equal to 0,0,0,0,0, which is black. And then we want to connect our press time timeout. And then we'll copy this, but we'll change focused to selected. So then on body entered and then body exited, we want to connect those. And then we also need a mouse collision layer, so we'll go down to our 2D, and then I'm just gonna put this on our last layer with the name mouse. So then we'll have this mask on the last layer, and then we need to open our mouse follow again and put it on the layer of mouse. Okay, so then when this enters, we want to do if global dot mouse. I thought we made this mouse mode. No, using mouse. Okay, using mouse is equal to true, which if it enters, it should be anyway. Then selected. We don't need to do that. We can do set focus true, and then we'll do just copy this into here, but we'll change this into false. Okay, so now we have our button template. Let's just drag a texture into this, and then we'll move it. Then I want to make it that things are linked in with this. Okay. So then, if we run this, put our mouse inside this little box here, it'll glow. And we don't have a way of testing if it is pressed yet, but that's okay. So then we'll go into our project settings and then add in our button press. So we're going to have the key of enter, the key of space, and then the left mouse button. So I'm just gonna group these together a little. So then func input again, but this time we're gonna ignore the event. So then if input.is action just pressed, button press, and selected is equal to true, then we want to do pressed, and we may as well actually just move this stuff up here. And then we'll do get parent dot get parent dot button pressed button name. So then we're basically going up two parents into the menu, and this will be important to keep in mind that whenever you add this in, you want to make your manager node 2 parents above whatever your button is. And you could add in, change this around so that it's just get parent, you know, and then you could have this right up here, or you could even add in another export variable that's like tells you how many parents down it is. And actually, let's just do that for convenience. So then we'll do export var parents up is equal to 2 by default. So then for parents and parents up, I will do var current parent is equal to get parent. I'll do -1. Then current parent is equal to current parents dot get parent. And then we'll do current parent. So I think this doesn't have a script yet, so we'll add a script in the menu, and then we'll just do func button pressed button name print button name. That's all we're gonna do for now. So then we'll go in here. It's called button, and it's working. If we were to add in another node, drag this down, change parents up to 3, and then we run this. Still works, but yeah, if you see we don't have the right parent, then you know it's gonna get the wrong node and it's gonna crash. So it is a little finicky, but it's kind of the consequence of it. Then something else we're gonna want to do is put an export var button width is equal to 10, export var button height is equal to 10. So there's a lot of variables to plug into it, but it'll just make long-term making a bunch of buttons like this easier. So then I'm going to set this extent to 1, 1. Then we want money collision shape 2D dot scale is equal to 2 vector 2. And why don't we just make this button size is equal to vector 2 and 10, and make this button size. And now we run this, we get that as usual. So then, do we need anything else on our button? I'm pretty sure that's it. And you could add more variables to set these to different colors. It's up to you though. I'm not going to use it for anything else, so I'm leaving it here. Yeah, so let's go into our menu. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. We gotta set our H frames and stuff. And also in our set focused. So then we want to do frame chords is equal to focus chords. And then this will be default chords. And then we want to go into our press time timeout. Just gonna copy this whole thing again and then change this into selected. I'm just gonna change this into selected as well, just to keep things similar. And then actually what we can do is just delete this on press time timeout. Just to keep things short. Yeah, so now we run this. It's all working. Let's change our H frames to 2. Our V frames to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then focus chords we're always going to have 1, just because we're going to be changing in between these two. But the Y is going to, for both of these, is going to change. Let's actually reset that and just change focus chords to 1x in here. That way we don't have to change that as we add in more. So yeah, now if we run it, oh yeah, I forgot we haven't even set this up with code yet. So then H frames, or yeah, okay, I need to change this names. Just gonna add num to the end of both of these. Okay, so then H frames self.h Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay. That still makes it easier just to understand. So then h frames is equal to h frames num. V frames is equal to v frames num. And then frame chords is equal to default chords. I think that's all we need. So we run this. Didn't work. Let's go reset. So then 2 and 7, I believe. Okay, there we go. So then our button size is 80 by 16, and then for the individual buttons, so then we'll change this to 80 16. Actually, we'll make this 78 14. So we run this, and that is way too big. Let's try divided by 2. Is that the correct size? Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna leave these numbers, but I'm gonna say is equal to button size divided by 2.0. Just cause, yeah, that way you don't have to do extra math. You can just plug in whatever number you have as these. So we run this, and we've got a working button that you can drag in textures and set the properties, and then it'll connect and have different focuses and go to the main menu.